Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about a movie named Escape. I hope that you enjoy. Spoilers ahead. The 10-year tenure of North Korean People's Army soldier Sergeant Lim Kyu-nam is coming to an end. He starts making plans to defect to South Korea in secret. He looks over his map and scans the camp area early one morning when the other soldiers are still asleep, noting potential escape routes and concealed landmines. A soldier informs him that rain is predicted in 2 days as he and his unit are on a woodland patrol. He begins getting ready for his getaway after realizing that this would be the ideal chance to get away. As he sits alone, reflecting on his childhood, he is approached by Dong-hook, a lower-ranking soldier who has discovered his plans. Dong-hook admits he also wants to escape to reunite with his family. However, Kyu-nam denies everything and warns him not to entertain such thoughts. Later that night, the soldiers in Kyu-nam's barracks are abruptly awakened by an alarm. The camp is alerted that a deserter is on the run. Sensing trouble, Kyu-nam checks his belongings and discovers his map is missing. Suspecting Dong-hook, he misleads his comrades and goes out to find him. He catches Dong-hook near the camp's fence, attempting to locate a hole Kyu-nam had dug for his own escape. Kyu-nam urges Dong-hook to return with him, but Dong-hook is determined to flee. In desperation, Dong-hook tries to dig another hole near the electric fence and ends up getting electrocuted. When Kyu-nam intervenes, Dong-hook pulls a gun on him, forcing him to lead the way. Kyu-nam eventually talks him out of it, but both men are caught by camp guards and detained. Both are beaten and forced into confessing who owns the map during questioning. Dong-hook accepts full responsibility in the face of execution threats and maintains Kyu-nam was not involved. Their interrogators continue to be doubtful, but when word breaks that Major Lee Hun-sang is en route to personally handle the case, things take an unexpected turn. While officers rush to get ready for the Major's arrival, the camp devolves into anarchy. Upon his arrival, Hun-sang meets with the officials and declares that Kyu-nam was attempting to capture the deserter and that Dong-hook has confessed. He orders the officers to report that Kyu-nam is a hero who stopped an escape attempt, warning them of severe consequences if they fail to comply. Later, Kyu-nam finds himself left in an unfamiliar area after the officers who had been driving him abandon the car and leave. To his surprise, Major Hun-sang, a childhood acquaintance, appears and gets into the vehicle. Hun-sang drives him, and the two talk about their past. During the conversation, Hun-sang mentions a banquet being held in Kyu-nam's honor by the Director General. At the banquet, Kyu-nam is celebrated as a hero before the army's top officials. He delivers a well-received speech, earning applause from the attendees. However, as the event continues, Kyu-nam grows anxious and asks Hun-sang if they can leave because it's getting late. Instead, he is blindsided by the news that he has been promoted and reassigned to a new division. Shocked, Kyu-nam questions why he's being given a new post when he's about to be discharged. Hun-sang dismissively tells him there's nothing meaningful for him outside the military, implying he's better off staying in service. Frustrated, Kyu-nam challenges Hun-sang's authority over his future, but when Hun-sang asserts his power, Kyu-nam reluctantly changes his tone. He politely requests permission to return to his base to say farewell to his comrades, but Hun-sang refuses, telling him to accept his new role. Kyu-nam starts filling out the transfer paperwork while feigning compliance. But while Hun-sang is having a good time at the banquet and laughing with the guests, Kyu-nam secretly removes his picture from the ceremony and makes a phony military ID card. Kyu-nam first intends to flee through the jungle, but instead she runs across guards at a watchtower. With quick thinking, he assumes the role of an inspector, surveys the area with their binoculars, and spots the main gate of the camp as well as a few military vehicles stationed there. Finding an unlocked car, Kyu-nam improvises a new plan. Pretending to be the driver for a drunken general, he helps the man into the vehicle and drives out through the official gate. Later, the intoxicated general wakes up abandoned in an empty field, while Kyu-nam continues driving. Unfortunately, his car runs out of fuel, and he notices military vehicles approaching in the distance. Panicked but determined, Kyu-nam decides to act confidently. When the military vehicles stop near him, he steps out and boldly asks for gasoline. When asked to show identification, he presents his fake ID and introduces himself using his new title. First Lieutenant Hong, one of the officers, steps out and begins questioning. He asked him why he let his car run out of fuel. Kyu-nam maintains his position by defending himself with nimble reasoning and strong arguments. Hong finally gives in, but instructs Kyu-nam to go with them to Hungry Station so he can refuel. Nam finds out that Dong-hook is being imprisoned at the Hungry Station and says he is on a classified mission for state security. By mentioning the map and outlining his plan to apprehend a co-conspirator, he persuades Hong and eliminates any possibility of doubt. Nam then arrives at the Hungry Demilitarized Zone police station and visits Dong-hook, who is terrified and battered in his cell. Nam reassures Dong-hook that he will help him escape before leaving the station, escorted by Hong's men. Although Nam insists on traveling alone, the officials insist on accompanying him. While on the road, a suspicious officer contacts a state security agent to verify Nam's identity. The agent speaks with Nam, who uses his wits and acting skills to deflect suspicion. However, word of Nam's actions reaches Han Sang, who realizes that Nam is attempting to escape. After hanging up, Nam drops any pretense of hiding his intentions. As the group continues, one of the officials receives an order to return the vehicle to the division. Realizing time is running out, Nam attempts to grab the driver's sidearm, leading to a struggle. The driver aims his gun at Nam, but in the chaos, the driver is accidentally shot and killed, causing the vehicle to crash. Nam survives and pulls Dong-hook from the wreckage, but they quickly come under heavy fire from Han Sang's men, who arrive at the scene alongside Han Sang himself. As the gunfire subsides, Han Sang scans the area with binoculars and spots Nam lying motionless on the ground, his face smeared with blood to feign death. However, when Han Sang moves closer, Nam takes the opportunity to flee. Grabbing the map nearby, he runs with Dong-hook while being pursued by Han Sang's men. After running for some distance, Nam and Dong-hook manage to escape temporarily by jumping into a river. Meanwhile, Han Sang returns to confront the drunken general who unknowingly aided Nam's escape. After ensuring the general did not report the desertion, Han Sang executes him and contacts his superior to request reinforcements. Though their relief is fleeting, Nam and Dong-hook eventually wash up on a riverbank. They cover when they see an armed figure approaching, but it turns out that the person is a nomadic woman and her tribe. After being found, they are detained at gunpoint. Dong-hook begs for their life as the nomads are ready to shoot them, pointing out that they fled from Hunri Station. Since one of their group members is also detained at the station, this attracts the nomad's attention. Dong-hook remembers the imprisoned nomad and provides a detailed description, convincing the group to spare their lives. Later that night, while sitting around a fire in the forest, Nam and Dong-hook share uneasy moments with their newfound companions, their fate still uncertain. Dong-hook explains the layout of the Hunri Station to prepare for a rescue attempt planned for the next day. However, Han Sang discovers the nomads' hiding spot and sends a unit to ambush them. The nomad leader gets wind of this and hides the group. Meanwhile, Han Sang brings a large force into the forest, guiding them closer to the nomad's location. When one of the nomad children accidentally steps on a twig, the soldiers hear the sound and move toward them. To divert attention, Nam fires a few shots, drawing the soldiers' focus to himself and Dong-hook. The two try to escape under heavy fire, but Dong-hook is hit in the leg. Nam goes back to help him, but they soon find themselves surrounded. Just when things seem hopeless, the nomad women suddenly appear, launching an attack on the soldiers and forcing them to shift their focus. Despite Han Sang's orders, the soldiers engage with the nomads, giving Nam and Dong-hook a chance to flee. After a long and grueling walk, the two make it to a military base and blend in by joining soldiers in training exercises. Han Sang later arrives at the base and gives a speech, offering a reward to anyone who captures the deserters. Following their escape plan, Nam and Dong-hook attempt to leave, but Nam accidentally makes a noise in the mess hall, alerting the soldiers. As the soldiers try to break through a barricaded door, Nam pours gasoline on it and sets it alight, buying them time to escape. They nearly make it out, but Dong-hook is shot by Han Sang, who is using a sniper rifle. Dong-hook had stayed behind to retrieve his mother's necklace. Nam fires back and helps the injured Dong-hook escape through the hole they had dug earlier. Realizing he can't go on, Dong-hook gives Nam the necklace, asking him to deliver it to his sister. He is shot again and dies. Nam uses the darkness to his advantage by shooting out the lights as Han Sang corners him and nearly kills him. Nam bravely rushes across a minefield while utilizing his radio to find his way out as Han Sang and his men start fire. He swims through a muddy marsh and crosses the South Korean demarcation line unharmed despite being fired at. Nam unintentionally stumbles on a landmine as he is ready to give the South Korean forces a signal. Behind him, Han Sang shows up brandishing a revolver at his head. Han Sang is pulled forward by Nam, placing him in the same danger. In a tense moment, Nam steps off the mine, which doesn't explode, but a physical fight ensues. Nam knocks Han Sang unconscious and calls the South Koreans, identifying himself as a defector. Han Sang regains consciousness and shoots at him as he attempts to cross the border. Despite being struck in the leg, Nam manages to drag himself down a tunnel and reach safety. He is shot in the back by Han Sang as he approaches the line. Nam, severely injured, touches the South Korean border with his remaining power. When South Korean forces arrive to rescue Kyunam and take him to safety, Han Sang is unable to kill him and flees. Later, Han Sang is seen reflecting in a classroom, looking at a childhood book that belonged to Kyunam. Meanwhile, in South Korea, Kyunam fulfills his promise by visiting Dong-hook's mother and giving her the necklace, choosing not to reveal her son's death. In the final scene, Kyunam stands on a bridge, listening to a radio program. Upon hearing news that his travel proposal has been approved, he walks away, smiling with newfound hope. So, that was the movie named Escape. Subscribe to my channel for more movie. Thank you everyone. Take care.